Police officer stops me. I dial 911 and fabricate story to avoid jail. Here's what happened. Back when I was 19, I found myself in a rush to get to work in my small, worn-out economy car. Running low on gas, I made a quick right turn without coming to a complete stop. Unfortunately, I attracted the attention of the police and had to pull over. Knowing that I had almost no gas left and desperately needing to make it to a gas station, I explained to the officer that I had rolled through the stop out of urgency to avoid stalling. During that time, around 1995, a new digital phone called VoiceSteam, now T-Mobile, had just been released. They were known for being digital rather than cellular and were the first phones to have caller ID. One of the salesmen had emphasized that the digital signal couldn't be triangulated or traced. Although I didn't particularly care about this feature, it stayed in my mind. As the police officer took my license, registration, and insurance card, a clever idea struck me. I knew that being late to work would cost me my job, and my workplace had strict policies. So, just as the officer walked back to his cruiser after receiving my documents, I dialed 911 on my new digital phone. I calmly informed the operator that I had seen a man with what appeared to be a shotgun entering a nearby 7-Eleven, providing them with the exact address before hanging up. Within moments, the police officer sprinted back to my car, handing me back all my belongings in a hurry. He sternly advised me to come to a complete stop next time before rushing off in the direction of the store. With a sense of satisfaction, I pushed my car to the gas station where I had almost made it before the incident, pleased with my quick thinking. Looking back, I realize I was acting foolishly, and I wholeheartedly admit my mistake. The guy resigned job because he believed he got jackpot. Here's what happened. I am employed by a construction company that specializes in home renovations. Our team recently hired an individual who turned out to be quite troublesome from the very beginning. Despite my extensive 5-year experience in this industry, this person, who switched to construction after being dismissed from an accounting job due to a DUI, took it upon himself to constantly belittle me. He would mock my clothing choices and accent, and matters worsened when he invaded my privacy by revealing personal pictures from my Instagram to our boss. Unbeknownst to him, my boss and I have a long-standing friendship that goes back 8 years, to our smoking days, which he conveniently forgot about. Enraged by the invasion of my privacy, I devised a plan for retaliation. This individual had a habit of consistently arriving late and blaming it on trains or traffic. He even once mentioned that he would quit if he won the lottery, feeling that he wasn't receiving the respect he deserved. I decided to purchase some counterfeit gold coins online, placed them in an antique metal box, and patiently awaited the perfect opportunity to conceal it behind a wall. It didn't take long for the chance to present itself. The day he stumbled upon the coins, it was as if he had struck the jackpot. His immediate reaction was to insult my boss and abruptly quit, proclaiming himself rich within our workplace. Little did he know, my boss had already intended to terminate him due to his chronic lateness. I can only imagine the look of shock on his face when he realizes that the gold coins are fake. It's safe to say that the $1.40 I spent on this scheme was the most worthwhile investment of my life. My family is pressuring me to give my wedding venue to my sister because she needs it more and she was pregnant. Here's what happened. My partner and I have been together for 8 years and engaged for 3. I was in the midst of my PhD program and also planning our wedding. Thankfully, my partner took on much of the wedding planning, which worked out perfectly because our dream venue was booked until after my graduation. So, we decided to secure our dream venue 3 years in advance. It's an absolutely stunning location, but the only available slot was in September of this year. A few months ago, my sister got engaged to her partner. They had plans for a spring wedding next year, but hadn't finalized a venue yet. They did have a few vendors lined up and a set date though. Yesterday, during a family BBQ, my sister announced that she is expecting. Everyone was overjoyed for her and her partner. My grandmother asked if the wedding would still be on the same date, or if they were considering postponing it due to the baby. My sister mentioned that she hoped to move the wedding to September. This wouldn't be an issue for us since we don't have many out-of-town guests, and they could attend both weddings. But then, my sister dropped a bombshell. She asked if we could give up our venue for her wedding because she couldn't handle the stress of planning while attending maternity classes. She expressed how much it would mean to her and how beautiful she thought the venue was. The room fell silent, and all eyes turned to me, waiting for my response. My brother-in-law, clearly uncomfortable, spoke up and told my sister that they had already discussed this, and it wasn't fair to put me on the spot. However, my sister persisted, saying that I should do what's best for her since she's my little sister. Feeling conflicted, I admitted that I had my heart set on the venue and couldn't easily give it up. This led to tears, and my sister storming off. My grandmother criticized me, calling me selfish, and claiming my sister needed the venue more than I did. I tried to defend myself, but it was futile. Eventually, my fiancé and I decided to leave the gathering due to the tension. Later, my sister called me in tears, saying it was unfair that I always got what I wanted and that I could have done this one thing for her. Even my father joined in, sending me messages about how my sister hasn't stopped crying since yesterday. My fiancé was furious with my family and didn't even want my sister at our wedding anymore. In the midst of all this drama, my in-laws came to support us. They reassured me that they would always be there for me, regardless of what happens. It was a moment of relief, and I cried tears of happiness. As for the wedding plans, my fiancé and I made the difficult decision to remove my sister from the bridal party and replace her with my supportive aunt. We haven't yet decided whether we will invite my family as a whole. Additionally, my mother took it upon herself to inform my fiancé's parents about the situation, suggesting that my sister should have the venue due to her pregnancy and the possibility of preeclampsia running in the family. It all feels like a scene from a bad soap opera, but we're doing our best to navigate through the turmoil. My manager compels me to obtain a doctor's note, although it's against the law. In response, the doctor crafts the most subtly confrontational note. Here's what happened. In my early 20s, I was employed at a supermarket where I had a reputation for being a reliable worker. I never arrived late, often came in early, and rarely took sick leave. However, one day I found myself in a terrible state. I had been up all night, suffering from a fever and severe vomiting. Despite my condition, I mustered the strength to call my manager, Steve, and inform him that I was too sick to come in. Steve, notorious for doubting sick leave claims, demanded to know the specifics of my illness. When I mentioned the flu-like symptoms, he dismissed them and insisted I report to work or provide a doctor's note. Fearing the consequences of losing my job, I reluctantly agreed to visit a doctor. As it turned out, I had misunderstood the UK employment law, which allowed self-certification for a period of 5 days. The doctor was visibly displeased with my unnecessary visit, explaining that I should have stayed home and self-certified. I shared my ordeal with Steve, and upon hearing about his inappropriate demand, the doctor decided to write a scathing note. The note highlighted Steve's disregard for the law and described my condition, resulting in a 2-week sick leave. When I arrived at work to hand Steve the note, a duty manager intervened and insisted on driving me home. Shortly after, Steve faced disciplinary action and received a severe reprimand. I enjoyed my fully paid 2-week vacation, while Steve was burdened with overtime due to staff shortages. Thanks to the doctor's intervention, I received the rest I needed, and justice was served. When you subscribe, make sure hit the bell to turn on notification.